Hey, man, thank you guys for watching the content, watching all of the interviews. Make sure you like, subscribe, and also leave a comment, man. Vibing with Vito. Just take 1 second out your day and leave a comment, like, or subscribe. Let's get back to the interview. Okay, we live in the crib, Vibing with Vito. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the YouTube at Vibing with Vito. Also follow us on the Instagram at Vibing with Vito. You already know the slogan, we vibrating higher. And today I got special guests in the building. Introduce yourself to the people. How y'all doing?
We're good. We're good. Everybody, I'm Dr. Tamara.
I'm Markus Turner. We're the Fampreneurs.
Fampreneurs. Nice to meet you all.
Of course.
Thank y'all for coming to Vibe with Vito.
It's a pleasure, man.
I got $1 million question for you all. We'll start this off. I talk to everybody, you know, and I always ask the same question. How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
As big as possible.
Yes.
How big?
Infinity.
I mean,
there is no limit.
Yeah, there's no limit for sure.
For sure.
100%.
For sure, for sure. Where are you guys from? Are y'all from? Because we're in Atlanta now. Where are you guys from?
Well, Marcus, you want to say where you're from?
I'm born and raised in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
That's
from
me.
Chicago.
Okay. So you migrated down here,
Yes.
like, so you been down here for a while, or?
Yes, 34 years. My grandfather's from Georgia.
Okay.
So that's why I came down to kind of finish the family roots.
Okay.
Finished, doing our family history, and then graduated college here for interior design and architecture.
Thanks.
So, yeah.
You know they say if you're here past 20 years, you from here now.
Yes. I'm a Georgia, Chicago peach. Yes.
Okay, for sure. I only been to Chicago one time though, but I
You
also
gotta visit, man.
Yeah.
Amazing city. It's
Yeah,
amazing
really.
city.
Okay. Yeah, you know, cause like on social media they try to give Chicago like a bad rap because of the rap music, but you know I know it's a big city and I would love to visit too as
It's
well.
an amazing city. I mean, I miss it. I miss the water for sure, and I miss the great food, and I miss the family. But
Thanks.
I love living down here as well. I just wish we had water.
Yeah, we used to have this man-made like beach here, but
Way
What?
back
yeah,
when.
he know what I'm talking
Way
about.
back
It was a
when.
man-made beach. It was like
It
on the
was a
south
man-made
side.
beach. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It's
I think it was called like, wasn't it called like the man-made
it
beach?
was
or
something. It was something else. The nickname was called the Man-Made Beach, but I can't remember what the
I
name
don't
of it
even
was.
remember
Yeah.
that.
There we go. Sun
Yeah,
Valley.
Sun
Beach.
Valley.
I remember that.
Yeah, facts.
Okay.
It was-
No,
it
that's
was-
that's not real.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
why it's
Yeah,
man-made.
Yeah, that's
right.
not real. That's not real. That's not real.
right. So yeah, let's talk about the journey. Can you guys share like the story behind the Fampreneurs?
Yeah, go ahead,
My
man.
son do it.
No, you got it. You explain it better than I do.
Where you want me to start?
You tell me. You tell me.
Or we can. I'll make it even better. How did you all get your start, and what inspired the three of you all to come together on the mission?
Well, it's really four of us.
Okay.
My husband is more of a support system, so he's kind of like the background. But my two sons, Marcus and Alexander, they've been in business with me ever since they were 6 and 8. So,
This is why it's better when she explains it.
Right.
so they've only seen their father and I in business really because we had our own business. But our number one goal is just to show that, that there is Black wealth out there. There is families that do business together. Family business does matter. I know that seems kind of weird because that's, our
I love that
our
shirt.
brand.
I love that shirt.
And the thing about it is there are a lot of family business and people don't realize everything that we do on a daily basis is based on family businesses where we're purchasing from. So my number one goal, and along with their father and their bonus dad, was to show them that we can be in business for ourselves. We can work together because people think that families can't work together.
Absolutely.
And that's actually not true. Or they think Black people can't work together, and that's not true. And it was important for them to know that there are more than just a job. That you do still have to start at the bottom, and they've done just about every position in the company. But because you can't think that you can be a boss and you don't have any experience as to what it's like to work at every single level. So they started when they were 6 and 8.
Okay.
Yep. We were cold calling at the age of 8, and I was public speaking at the age of 11.
Yeah.
You were public speaking at the age of bro. That's a hard job to do. Like
It is.
going in front of people. I mean, even like interacting like in front of a camera, like
Correct.
having
For
a
sure.
conversation. It's a hard job to do. So I commend you on that. At 11, that's crazy.
Well, they didn't
It
have a
is crazy.
choice.
Yeah, there was no options.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, do you want to go public speak? No, it's like you go public speak or you have to call 100 people before you go play outside.
Yeah, I needed them to we were having an event. I needed them to introduce me, and I'm like, what better way than to have my sons introduced, and that will eliminate their fear of being in front of people, and that's the other thing. I mean, and he was in debate. He still debates to me with this day. It gets on my nerve, but
it's an amazing skill set.
Like debate class,
debate club.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was in the debate club in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was in high school.
You see how important it was for you to
Absolutely.
be able to know how to get through conversations without having to have an argument, or use your intellect instead of having to swear at somebody or use your fist or hands.
Absolutely.
So it was important for them to know that they had, one, be well-rounded, two, to be able to have conversations and dialogue, and understand that you're selling yourself every single day. So no matter what you do, you are selling yourself.
That's I'm gonna keep that with me too as well. Like, you're selling yourself every day. Like, that's a gem, and people don't understand that. Like, when you carry yourself like a brand and you're actually selling the product.
Correct.
You are the product.
Yep.
No matter what you do. If you're a basketball player looking to be recruited to a big team, you have to carry yourself like, hey, I'm the star. You know what I mean?
That is correct.
Whatever you do, you're selling yourself as a brand.
100%.
For sure. What personal experiences or challenges shaped your passion for financial literacy too as well?
Would you say when we started trading? Well, let me rephrase that.
And also building generational wealth. I'm sorry.
It was at the age of 32, I had made my first $1 million. So, but I wasn't responsible. We didn't have all the technology that we have now. You're talking 24 years ago. I'm 56. 24 years ago, yes, the internet was out, this, that, and the other, not like it is now. Wasn't social media really, there wasn't social media at that time. 24 years ago when I made my first $1 million. So when I sit up here and think about what's going on now, had I had a better understanding, because I didn't grow up with money, even though we were middle class per se. I didn't have an understanding about credit. I didn't have an understanding about investments, didn't understand about insurance, didn't understand about having a trust. I didn't understand those things. And had I known those things, what we know now, it would totally be different. And that's the problem that we have within our own community, because we're always living paycheck to paycheck or trying to survive. And if we learn that we just put a little bit of money away, not necessarily on a savings, but on an investment side or with an insurance policy, that we can actually build wealth.
100%.
Damn.
I want to be able to chime in on that as well. What made us get into it from a son's perspective is it was forced.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't have a choice.
There was no option. There was there was no like, there was like, hey, if you do this, I'll give you this. There was no incentive. So she was like, either you learn this skill set or you get kicked out of the house.
Correct.
Right. So there's
That's
just
really
a
what it
matter of being forced, but it puts a fire under you, right? So you're learning something, and then you enjoy learning it, and then you want to continue learning it, and then you want to educate someone on it.
And I got resistance.
Of course you did.
Wow.
Of course you did. So it was like there's that. So I would say it started off in the trading skill set. Then it wasn't a family. It wasn't like I said, we've always been in the family business, but it wasn't publicly advertised that it was a family business, right? We were just doing it as a family. Like that's the difference, right? And so what kind of pivoted us to being into the family business sector, which will answer the generational wealth portion, is that we found out with trading is that people were trading with the money that they needed to pay their bills.
Correct.
And so because they were trading with money that they were paying their bills, we were like, there needs to be another option that allows a person to still be able to pay their bills, but also still be able to trade successfully, right? And so that's when we started leveraging credit, right? And so then that's when we started getting into the credit scene. But then credit wasn't just credit. It wasn't just funding. You had to learn how to repair credit. You had to learn how to build credit. You then had to learn how to get personal funding. Then you had to learn how to get business funding. And then you got family credit that's involved, right? And from there, we started diving so deep into the rabbit hole that the word trust and generational wealth continued to pop up. And, from there, then while we were running through these different types of businesses, because we had multiple businesses, and none of them failed, right? At least when we were, the family business that we started didn't fail. What it did is it evolved. And so like you had different experiences, different things that you would be learning, but the same question kept popping up every time we created a business.
Right.
How are you able to work with your mother? How are you able to work with your family? How are you able to work with your son? And so what we did is that we were like, why don't we just build a business revolving around the question that someone always asks? And I mean, contrary to popular belief, like my mom says, she made her first man at the age of 32. My brother and I were born into wealth. We weren't born like a regular individual was. We grew up getting pretty much anything that we wanted, right? So in order to build the generational wealth sector and things, it starts off, and we're 3 generations deep, just for understanding. But like starting off, it started off with the values that were being passed down. That's how you build generational wealth, starting off, to answer your question.
Okay.
And let me just add
Yeah,
one
go
thing
ahead.
that the other portion of diving deep into the financial part was the people who were trading, and when we were talking about, hey, why don't you leverage credit? If you had a business, you can leverage it on the business side of it. And then when they were saying that their credit scores were like 5, and we were like, what
4.
Yeah, we were like, what's going on?
They said it was like 5
in the 500s,
Okay.
in the low 600s. We were like, whoa, what is going on here? And it was people that were older than me. That was because we had about 3,000 people in our trade community, and we were like, something's not right. But it didn't dawn. It's like
You never know until you ask.
Right, until you're in that situation or you're talking to people and they're not embarrassed to talk about their financial situation, but they trusted us and they were like, oh, well, I don't have any credit, or my credit is I only have a $300 credit card or $500, and I'm just like, what's going on here? And that really took us, like Marcus said, it really made us go even further and further. It's like you can't even invest if your own personal credit profile is not in order.
100%.
You've got to have your personal stuff in order first so you can move yourself forward. And there are some things you could put in place while you're doing that. But it was just mind blowing to see people that were 50 and 60 and late 40s and having a credit score of like 500, 550. It was mind blowing.
Wow.
It's like, and that's the reason why we can't get where we need to go, because we don't have an understanding about financial literacy.
Right. Do you feel that there's a stigma in the Black community about kind of not understanding money, right? But not also wanting to learn the necessary steps to become wealthy? Do you feel like there's a stigma like that we kind of battle as being African American?
100%.
Let me say something real quick of something that I learned, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but everyone knows who Ford Motors is, right?
Correct.
There were 3 companies with Ford Motors.
Explain.
Okay. So, and that the Black community is what helped Cadillac become wealthy. So they originally had 3 companies, and one of them ended up being Cadillac. Somebody ended up buying the Cadillac dealership. And this was during the Great Depression. It was like 1910 or something like that. And don't quote me on the year yet, but it's around that time.
For sure.
And Cadillac was formulated. When Cadillac was formulated, they were about to file bankruptcy because at that time they did not have loans. So who ended up, and during the Depression, all the white counterparts had all their money in the bank. Well, the Black people didn't have money in the bank because they wouldn't let them have bank accounts. So what did they do with their money? So Black folks know how to save money. They know how to move money around, but they don't know how to understand the credit part because they only use cash. That's what our community does. So Cadillac was saved because 70%, it grew by 70% because Black folk who had saved money had literally saved that company. So when it comes to Black folks having an understanding about money, it is really about them being educated to know, hey, it's okay to use credit. It's okay if you use it the right way to leverage it for business. So it's not so much as we don't know, it's about we just have to train our people to have an understanding of how to navigate that way. Because our community, we've been robbing Peter to pay Paul forever.
For years, okay? Absolutely.
But we've always made it through, right?
Right.
And that's because we saved in different kind of ways.
Yeah, we've been locked out of information.
Yes.
Right? So like she said, it's a lot deeper than just the back in the time that you're referring to, where they didn't allow us to have bank accounts. I mean, it was before that. I mean, in slavery times, they barely allowed us to breathe.
Correct.
Right? They only allowed us certain pieces of information. They only paid us minimum wage. So we were only given, we pretty much worked with what we had.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what creates intergenerational trauma and poverty, right? Is that we are taught something that we think is the rule, and that's not necessarily the rule. I mean, we operate off one rule, but the wealthy operate on totally different rules. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how did Cadillac even become Cadillac? They had some form of resources and different forms of information for them to even create a company of that stature, right? Ford, same way. All the companies, they had different information. Why isn't there really any black car owners? The information is different.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's also just a matter of not only were they not taught information, we were locked out of information at the same time.
Correct. And we're the ones who invented a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
Which is so crazy. But the financial part of it is we didn't have the money to fund certain things. And so now with the internet, what the internet has done is it has opened the door for us to grab this information, but it's about getting the right information. Because there's a lot of people out there that's giving incorrect information, only giving part of the information. So people get stuck and, it's a scam. Well, not everything is a scam.
Not everybody is a scam either.
Yeah, and it's so crazy that we think like that, because it's like, I mean, you hear something and then you hear investing, pay me to do this, and people automatically think that it's a scam, and it's not like that. You know what I mean? People
But you'll pay somebody else.
You have to pay exactly.
You'll pay a white man to do it.
There you go.
I wasn't gonna say that.
I was gonna say that.
Let him. Yeah, hey,
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but you'll pay the other counterpart, but you don't even want to trust your own community. But then, unless we've gotten to that statue and we gotta flaunt and show everything, and my son has been debating. He's like, "Mom, should I buy a new car? I'm about to pay off my car. Because I'm like, dude."
I've solidified that answer, by the way.
What you gonna?
I'm gonna get me a Maserati.
Okay.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna get me a Maserati. Only not because it's a sports car and it's a Maserati.
Right,
Only
I know it's not because of that.
It gets you in different rooms.
Correct.
So that's the reason why I want.
Because he drives a Kia.
Can we touch on that? Go ahead.
Absolutely.
So you said, okay, you're getting the Maserati because it gets you in other rooms.
For sure.
Explain.
Yeah. So certain cars have different networks, right? So like let's say if you went and got a Lamborghini, you go to a Lamborghini network. There's just a source of people in Atlanta that only drive Lamborghinis. And there are certain places that you go to that you have to have at least $100,000 to a $200,000 car in order for you to get in the room. Right?
It's crazy.
And this is real. This is real.
No, this
like
is real.
We know the people that
there are
only
private
house these
Louis Vuitton
events.
parties.
Yeah, there are
that
private
you have
parties.
To be at
yeah.
a certain level,
certain network,
in order to get into those invitation rooms for Louis Vuitton. Absolutely,
100%.
1,000%.
And so I'm going to get me a Maserati only because 1, it's a sports car. 2, it creates conversation. 3, it's marketable, and 4, it allows me to get in different rooms.
And 5, because in order for people to see that you're doing something, they look at what you have.
Of course, the
which
image
is crazy.
It's the image.
It's so
yes.
crazy.
But like, image is the last thing I'm thinking about.
Right. For
Right?
him.
For me, it is.
For him.
But for other people,
But
of
for
course,
other
that's what they're
people,
seeing.
That's what they're looking at. Like, oh, he's driving that, he's doing that, instead of, oh, okay, so he's driving a Kia that is pretty much paid off. What is like a couple of months paid off, and he uses his money to leverage for something else. They're not looking at it that way. They're like,
People don't even last that long to even pay off a car, by the way.
correct.
In our culture.
They don't. They
so
don't.
crazy.
Their cars are generally repossessed or something like that, and that's so unfortunate. Or they've turned it in for something else. And he's like, no, I'm keeping that car and I'm getting another car and I'll let somebody rent that. But they don't think that way. They're like,
Wow.
I just got to get a new car.
Right.
And then what's the crazy part about it is to have somebody in our community who literally put down for a car. It was a used car. And the amount of money that she spent on that car, she could have bought a brand new car. And I always tell them,
100%.
do not ever buy a used car. You never have to buy a used car, and don't put no money down. Because I don't believe in that either.
Let's be more specific. Like if you have a son or a child, get them a used car.
Correct.
But like for yourself, for what you need, we wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend it.
teenagers don't deserve a new car. All these
For sure.
parents buying
100%.
new BMWs and all that. No, they need a hoopty. They need to value the vehicle.
Right.
They need because they're
They're
gonna
gonna
tear
break
it up.
Yeah, they're
Right.
gonna do it.
But for an adult, if everyone seems to think that they have to buy a used car. No, you can get yourself a brand new car. But because they think their credit is so bad, but it's understanding how you can leverage these things in order to get whatever you want.
Can we talk about leveraging, and leverage?
Yeah.
So when you say leverage your credit to get what you want, can you kind of like expound on that?
Yeah, so it's a lot deeper than just credit, right? So it goes back to what my mom was saying. When it comes to the financial industry and the people that are teaching it, they're only teaching one particular aspect of what builds generational wealth and what builds financial literacy. And one of that is credit, which is the most popular one. And the other one is a trust and an insurance policy. So like, for example, the Rockefellers, right? Everyone's familiar with them. They're familiar with the Vanderbilts.
The richest family in the world.
Richest family in the world.
One of
them, right? And so we studied 100 families in order to find out the commonalities of what makes each person different outside of what Napoleon Hill did. Okay. And so what we did is we figured out that on a holistic standpoint, the Rockefellers weren't the richest family in the world because of a trust and an insurance policy. They were the richest family in the world because they had a business, and the trust and the insurance policy was the cherry on top. Right. And so what people need to establish is a family business in order for them to actually build cash flow. And the way that they build cash flow nowadays that we focus on is creating a business online. So creating generational skill sets. And we talk about two types of generational skill sets. You have a private skill set and you have a public skill set. Right? The public skill set is you making money online that I just stated before. The private skill set is you making money so one of them is making money with people and the other person is making money without people. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so online, you need people in order to make money. So for example, you need us you don't need us, but the benefit of having a podcast or the most popular style is you talk to people in order for it to happen. Or you need people in order to operate the podcast fully.
And
right?
people to view so you can...
Exactly. It's just all depending on people, right? And the other aspect that that's the private side is like Forex trading. You don't need anybody to learn how to trade Forex, right? Forex is something that is built on you and your skill set alone. Because if they shut down Instagram, which has happened numerous times, or your account gets hacked or whatever, your income is it's gone. It's a wrap. There's no reason for you to even exist on this planet anymore. And that's how people think, literally, right? And so what happens is you want to create a private skill set that allows you to make money without people being involved. And that's on a holistic standpoint of how all of these families were able to build wealth, right? Yes, they had things that, like Rockefellers had oil. Oil, you don't need people to have oil.
Correct.
Do you get what I'm saying? But they also had a team in order to operate the business in order for the oil plant to be even ran, right? In order for the business to be even going the way that it. So there's two different skill sets there. The knowledge of how to make money without a person, and then the knowledge to have someone with people to make money. Does that make sense?
And understand the new wealth that's being built today. I mean, all the millionaires that are billionaires that are done today, 85% of them were leveraging some type of credit.
100%.
15% is old money, okay? 85% of the new money is from leveraging
100%.
somebody else's funding in order to get you where you need to go. It's never on the back of somebody's total blood, sweat, and tears. Pinky, for example, she had a food truck, but she had to leverage some money to do that in order to get her food truck going. Now look at her now. She's a $100 million company.
Wow.
100%. And it's not like you don't use credit. I'm not saying it as if you don't use credit and you don't use trust or life insurance. We use all of them. There's just a better, more efficient vehicle and a better way to leverage that. So I'll give you an example, right? Generational wealth is a trusted and an insurance policy. We specialize more on the irrevocable side than we do on the revocable side when it comes to a trust, right? But a lot of people just say, hey, you just need an insurance, you need a trust, boom, now you got generational wealth flowing. That's the hack. That's not the hack. Because the issue is that now you're creating generational trust fund babies because none of them are financially educated in order for them to actually build wealth, right? And so the way that holistically that you should have is there should be a vehicle that not only educates the next generation, which is true inheritance, but also create a funding machine that doesn't depend on one flywheel vehicle. Like, for example, when it comes to creating content, you have to create content. It's based off of you.
Correct.
But when it comes to family banking, there are different vehicles in order to build a family bank. Like insurance is one of them. Credit is another one of them. Your business is another one of them. Stocks is another one of them. Charities is another one of them. You can give yourself grants. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
How do you do that?
yeah. So see, that's what I'm saying. There's different ways in doing it.
Okay, yeah.
So
for sure.
for example, let's say you make $100,000 in a year. So we focus on what we like to call multi-layered trust system, right? Multi-layered trust structure. And so what that means is that we use 3 different trusts. We use a family trust, we use a business trust, and we use what you would like to call a ministry trust, right? Which is like a 508c1a. Faith-based organizational trust, right? Now, what that means is that it's like a 501c3 nonprofit, but on steroids. Let's just put it that way, right? And so what it is that, but the true difference is that 501c3, you have to depend on how the taxes work within the system. You know how, for example, the medieval times worked, where there was like the politics and science, and then you had the church.
Okay.
They had their own rules. That's what the 508 ministry trust does. You create your own rules. You don't. It's not like
Vatican.
Exactly. It's not like you create your own taxes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you just create your own rules. So like it's a faith-based organization, which means that it's a church or a religion or a religious activity. But you can define what church means to you.
Correct.
Do you get what I'm saying?
What the definition.
Right.
Bro, this is crazy. This is my first time hearing this. Wow.
You dictate how you want it to be in your, and I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
You may want to flip your hat up a little bit because can't nobody see your face.
Oh, for real? I'm sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
All right.
But yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's really based on what it's almost like I don't know if you ever heard of the Lions Club or that they were the ones that used to wear these hats with a tassel on it, and they were private clubs. That was a faith-based organization.
100%.
Okay, it was a men's group.
100%.
Okay, and I remember growing up, and they used to do pancake events. I was giving out pancakes. It was crazy, but you'd be surprised. A lot of things. Yes, we're so connected that we're disconnected. We're on information overload, so we don't know where to get this information from. But when you learn the way we teach, and you stay on that path. Because see, what happens is you'll get one information and you're stopping, and you go over here and you stop and you go over here. You got to stay one course.
For at least a year.
Yes. You got to stay one course and be like, okay, I'm going to do everything that's implemented. And once you see this over the next 6, 12, 18 months, you're going to be like, wow, your wealth starts to grow.
100%.
And did you mentioned digital, right?
Digital what?
That's the other portion.
Yes.
Because the digital space is an $85 billion industry. Everything online, teaching online, coaching online, information, it is an $85 billion industry. So when we say we help them create an online business, everybody has some type of talent, okay?
100%.
So for example, you doing the podcast, where's your ebook? Where's your how-to? Where's your checklist?
The VIP package.
These are things that you could be selling for individuals who say, well, man, I want to do a podcast, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know those people, so I don't trust them, but they know you. They trust you. So sell it for $17. You'd be surprised. People want this information. So our goal is to help the family create their own type of business, build up their family credit so they can become their own bank, they can become their own church, and they can build the wealth for generations to come.
100%.
Facts. Okay. Damn, y'all broke that down like to a T. So how do people get in contact with you guys if they want to like learn these things? Because I'm interested too, by the way. Because you
do have a family doing the business, man.
This is the family here.
I hope y'all got a family crest flowing somewhere.
Yeah, you got your family crest. Yes,
that's right.
Our family crest right here. We don't go anywhere without it.
100%.
Explain that.
Ow.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then I'll answer the question too. So the family crest is important because it allows so for example, the crest is how the medieval times used to have it, where the shields, they'd have the crest on there, and it did 2 things. One, it associated to what family you were with, and it differentiated who was friend or foe on the field, especially in battle, right? And so the family crest is made to say you are a part of the family and you have access to the family trust. That's what the crest is for. Like if you don't have the crest, you don't get access to certain meetings, certain retreats, certain reunions, certain funding options, certain anything and everything. right? You're officially part of the business when you have a crest, right? And so, what do you mean?
What family that everybody knows that's on this planet?
The government. The government has a family seal.
And London.
Yes, London, 100%.
Queen of England.
Queen Elizabeth.
Right. They have their crest on the gate. I don't know if you've ever been to London. We have. When you go to visit the palace, what is on their gate when you walk up? It's their family crest.
And the thing is, people don't think that far that deep when it comes to the family crest. They just think it's a symbol, but like it really means something. You know, it really does. Like if you're born, you get certain pieces of the crest. If you're an elder, you get all the pieces of the crest. If you're married, you only get certain pieces of the crest. When you are getting to a certain age, you get a certain piece of the crest. Like just for example, when they used to knight people, they would add the helmet on top of the crest, knighting you back in the day for accomplishments. So then you would have to think within your family, what accomplishments are we putting together to knight our children, to let them know and acknowledge them for what they have going on. You know what I'm saying? So like the family crest is more important. That's why I was asking, do y'all have y'all family crest? I hope y'all have it. And if not, hopefully this conversation changes that.
I mean,
for sure. But
let's take it even a step further. When Queen Elizabeth died, her son, King Charles, had an endowment. She had an insurance policy. It's worth over $700 million.
Yes.
So again, that's passing down generational wealth. Even in Africa, when you identify certain tribes, they had their own symbols. You know, you were talking about some of your family that's here, they're from Ghana. Well, back then, they all had different tribes. That's how they were identified, through their symbols. So this is not something that's new. It's just that they don't want us to know that we can do these things and
legally.
that we can, legally, 1,000%. Legally do these things for your family so you can build your own wealth.
Yeah, and building your own nation as well.
Correct.
Which is a different conversation for a different day. But to answer your original question,
I'm intrigued. I like this conversation, but let's keep going. I mean, we got time.
Okay. Cool, yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can build wealth, right? So answer your original question. I forgot to answer it, right? So how does...
Would you like for me to ask it again? Or
No. I remember. Okay. I remember you had asked, how does the charity part work? Right? And so let's say you make $100,000 in a year. You have all three of those trusts that I mentioned: the family, the ministry, and the business. So let's say you made $100,000 in your LLC. Let's say you have some expenses, right? Let's say $20,000 in business expenses. I'm just throwing numbers out there, right? That leaves you with $80,000, right? And you then pass through to the business trust, because the business trust's job is to own and protect the businesses. The family trust's job is to protect the family. The charity trust's job is to help you with taxes and all these other great things and to build a charity. Because a lot of people, when what happens is that, I'm gonna explain it. So let's say you have $80,000 in the business trust. When it comes to an irrevocable trust, the pros and cons of a trust, you have revocable and you have irrevocable. The pros and cons is revocable is where you can make changes. It's very simple. You can make changes to it, but the pros is that you do not pay taxes while you're alive, and you can become anybody, pretty much. The beneficiary, the trustee, and the grantor.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but you said the trust, you don't pay taxes? Like when you have
revocable trust, you do not pay taxes. On irrevocable trust, you do pay taxes. Okay. That's the con of having a irrevocable trust.
But why aren't they paying taxes? So we want to make sure, because when somebody say, they say we're not paying taxes.
Yeah.
So please.
Of course. I mean, there's really you're alive. So it's a revocable living trust. That's the name of it, right? So it's not like you don't pay taxes on any personal things. It's just the trust internally does not pay taxes. So like an irrevocable trust, the trust pays max or between 10 to 37% internally taxes. It has nothing to do with like your personal. It has nothing to do with post-tax. If you're spending something, pre-tax, if you're spending something, you paying annual tax. It has nothing to do with those things.
But internally, how you pass it through the trust.
Right, which is what I was about to say. There's something called 100% distribution when it comes to a irrevocable trust, where let's say that 80,000 that we have, we can distribute, not pay 10 to 37% of those taxes, and distribute it all the way up to the family trust. And then guess what? With the family, you have family expenses, right? And so let's say that 80,000, you have 50,000 in expenses. Now you're left with 30,000, right? Now, but the thing is that family trust says that you must donate minimum 5% to a charity. most people are just going to go to a Red Cross. They're going to go to this. They're going to go to that. But we created our own charity.
Boom.
Which means that we can donate. And if it's a public charity, you can donate up to 60%. Right. So guess what? If we have, let's say, 30,000 left, and we donate 60% of that 30,000 to the charity, which is 18,000, right? That leaves you with what, 12,000?
Correct.
12,000 left that you were only paying taxes for. 10 to 37% in taxes.
So it's not
and
that
then
you're paying taxes, you're just paying a reduced amount of taxes.
right. It's not like you're avoiding. This is not tax avoidance.
Right.
Tax avoidance is illegal. What we're doing is tax minimization. It's tax strategy. It's legal. It's completely different. You can look at the IRS code. I read the IRS code every 2 days. And just so no, literally, it has to be every 2 days because you got to marinate, reread. You got to do certain things in order for you to move forward. But the point is that in order to answer yourself with the grants, because we have the charity in place, right? Because we donated, let's say, that 18,000, now we can give ourselves grants. Now there is a particular, it cannot be for the family or the business, right? It has to be a grant towards something dealing with charity, right? But but legally, you can give yourself grants when it comes to having your own charity. Hopefully, that answers your question. I know it was a lot.
It does.
What's interesting is based on the tax code, you can, I can't remember what it is this year, but you can do a gift. A gift.
Yeah, you can gift yourself up to a certain amount.
Right. So it used to
you got to pay taxes on gifts, though.
13,000
personally,
not a gift.
Yes, you do. Personally, you have to pay taxes on the gift.
Not a gift.
You do.
We're gonna check.
The
on
trust
that.
does not pay taxes. But
right.
Personally, if I give him $10,000 in a gift,
thank you.
The trust does not. Right. The trust does not pay taxes, but he personally has, because it counts as income.
Well, it depends because, and I got to look up the code and maybe I'll record it for you and send it to you. But there is something that is a gift, meaning the person, there is a form that you have to fill out. And I'm not going to go there because it used to be under cash gifting when people would be gifting people money. But there is an actual form that you have to fill out that literally exempts that person from having to pay taxes when it's a gift. But we're not going to,
we'll have another conversation.
Yeah, that's actually another conversation. But there's multiple ways. But what Markus is definitely telling you, how we are passing it down and how the money is being changed. It is minimizing the amount of taxes. Instead of paying taxes on that 100,000, okay, which is at 30, let's just say 37%, okay, you're paying taxes on the 12,000. That's a whole big difference of paying 37,000 versus paying only 5,000 or 4,000.
Wow.
That's how you're able to minimize it.
Wow.
Did I say that okay, man?
All right, so I got a few more questions before we get out of here. Why do you believe leaving a legacy is essential for family survival and growth?
Because our people are lost and they don't, to be quite honest, we don't know if we're coming or going. We don't know anything about our family. We don't know why we act the way we do, and being able to have the legacy, it's like Markus knows, our family tree, our DNA, all of these things are absolutely important because that's how you figure out who you are. And there are a lot of people that don't even know who their father is or their mother, or they've been in the foster care.
Or track it where it is. Like, you don't know where your parents
foster
are.
care. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. So this can give you can, if you don't have that, you can start doing it for yourself from this moment on. Do your DNA check, and I hate to say do your DNA because they're using it for different purposes, but if this helps you start identifying who you are, so you can start building that for your family, this is where you start. You start with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but we have to go.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so we'll wrap it up. My bad.
Okay.
But thank y'all for coming to vibe with Vito.
Yeah.
I do want to have a part 2 with you all if we can. I was gonna build out a set for you guys, but we couldn't do it because they're doing something else. But I would like for you to bring all your members.
Okay.
Sure. We have a part 2. I'll get your contact. I know we was going through Brendan. Shout out Brendan.
Yeah.
And we'll make this because this was a lot of information that I want to.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to just tap in more and tell the people how they can actually tap in with you guys.
Of
and,
course.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a a book. It's called The Black Rockefellers, because that's that's another way, like a way that we represent ourselves. It's called The Black Rockefellers. You can go to the blackrockefellas.com and actually get the book, right? You definitely want to tap in. We teach you a lot of different strategies. We're actually coming out with a volume 1 and 2 where we actually will give you some of these trusts for free within the book. Okay, so you want to make sure to tap in, and so you can get updates on those. And then if you want to follow me, of course, you can go to Markus Turner Official, Markus Turner Official, or you can tap in with us on the Fampreneurs.
Fampreneurs, THEFAMPRENURS, or you can follow me at Tamara Allen, TAMARRA Allen, ALLEN, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, man.
Hey, it was a blessing, me and y'all, and I hope we can continue this conversation. We'll get each other's information. We'll do that. All right. Thank y'all for coming to Vibe with Vito. Okay.
Of course. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, it's been another episode of Vibing with Vito. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. You already know the slogan. We vibrating higher, and we gone.
I like that.